talk, watch them all fall. This is AFC North Talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Hey, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North Talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North Talk.
Welcome to another edition AFC North Talk presented by Caldera Labs. Caldera Labs, we're going to be talking about them shortly. Q's back from his well-deserved vacay. We have here Omar, and Ace today is going to his own little vacay. So shout out to Ace, but he'll be here. Audio version. I mean, we have the Ace in fire over there. How you guys doing?
Doing great, brother.
Doing great, man.
Feeling fine. How y'all doing?
We're doing
good, man.
Well, at this point, I got to the point that I forgot about last week's game. Right? We got it out of the chest. We're in a better state of mind. Steelers obviously on the bye. We put the poll out there for the first game that we're gonna be discussing. Browns Niners. Now, earlier today came out that Deshaun Watson is not gonna play. He's officially out. I was a little surprised, but I haven't been following the situation, Q. So I don't know if obviously the shoulder doesn't feel great because he's not playing. But the question is for you: if has they come up with any designation to Deshaun for the
it's a shoulder. It's a rotator cuff contusion right there. So that's what the injury is. It's kind of the reverse Baker Mayfield, right? Where Baker Mayfield went out there with that labrum, played on it when he was cleared, and that affected his ability to play. This is the opposite of it, right? This is the other end of it, where somebody decides that it's going to affect my ability to play. I should not play. And that's where we are with it. I don't know many more details. There's no shortage of conspiracy theories that people are willing to float at you about this thing. You just got to take it week by week with Deshaun at this point, right? Whatever's going to be with him, healthy, not healthy, rusty, not rusty, whatever it is, you just got to figure it out with him as time goes on.
So who's going to be the starting quarterback?
As far as like offense goes, you want me to get into like the game matchup?
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So as far as the offense goes, look, it's going to be tough. I mean, it was going to be tough whether Deshaun played or not. It's the 49ers. Best linebacker in football is coming into town in Fred Warner. We know what kind of a beast he is at all three levels of the game. You talk about him as a coverage guy, him as a blitzer, him as a run stuffer. Both those linebackers for San Francisco are really good. So this isn't going to be a week where you could just screen the ball left and right and get some easy yards against them. You're going to have to be comfortable pushing this ball upfield. That's why I do like that they added PJ Walker to have him start, because you know anything about PJ. For better or worse, PJ gonna push that ball upfield, right? Like that's been PJ's thing. He's gonna try to get that ball downfield, let his playmakers make plays, and that's when he's at his best. He's a June Jones system guy, spread them out, throw it kind of dude. That's been what he's been his whole career. I think this is a good week to see Elijah Moore live up to some of the preseason hype that he got. We know Amari Cooper is gonna be solid if you give him an opportunity. I'm not really too worried about him. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's had 75 yards in 4 games. Like, what has happened to him? It would be a good week to see him step up. I don't think you're going to see much from David Njoku. I don't think you're going to see much from like the running backs in the receiving game. This is not the game to throw screens, right? They're going to be all over it. They're going to blow you. That's how you end up with like 12 yards total offense in the first half of this game. If you think you're going to run a ton of screens versus 49ers, you got to stretch them vertically. You got to be willing to take chances at them. You got to see if you can get Hufanga to see something that he doesn't and take him out of position. You got to be willing to be aggressive against them. And I think that's going to be the game plan that will work against them offensively. Defensively, though, I like the matchup for this Browns defense. If you look at Jim Schwartz's history versus this Shanahan offense, I believe he's never led a team with Jim Schwartz's defense hasn't given up more than 18 points to a Kyle Shanahan offense. And this is the best Jim Schwartz defense that he's had, I would think, in a very long time. So I think this defense is going to be able to hold up, keep you in this game. The question is going to be, does the offense show life? If they score in the first quarter of this game, the Browns offense, they get a touchdown in the first quarter of this game will be close. If they cannot get a touchdown in the first quarter, if they look hapless again, like they did against Baltimore, the same exact stuff's going to happen where guys are going to get lazy, start getting aggressive when they don't need to get aggressive, start shooting upfield, trying to make plays, missing tackles. All those things are going to pop up again. And those are things that pop up when you don't have faith in your offense. So that's how this game's going to go. If they can score early, if they get the ball first and score early in this game and then get a couple 3-and-outs like they have all season, this is a game that can become on upset alert, but it's definitely only on upset. Like there's no way that you can expect the Browns to win this game given the amount of guys that are hurt. But I don't think that's an excuse for this team not to compete. They shouldn't get blown out. They shouldn't get dog walked. They should find a way to be competitive in this game. And we talked about it before. If you think that this Browns defense is Super Bowl quality, they shouldn't be rolling over to a team that's also Super Bowl quality on the other side. So I'm not on the camp that's like, oh, we should just expect the dog walking and blowout and it means nothing. No, I expect this team to be competitive this week. And they got to figure out a way to be competitive because every other team in the North, they're in this situation. They figure out a way to be competitive. If the Browns want to say that they belong with the other North teams, then they figure out a way to be competitive. That's just the bottom line here, right? If Pittsburgh were in this situation, well, they weren't competitive when they played, so that's a bad example. But if Baltimore was in this situation with Tyler Huntley, you would expect that they find a way to be competitive in that game, and the Browns have to figure out a way to be competitive.
Yeah, I would say this with this game. Obviously, Deshaun Watson. I like PJ Walker because I agree with you. He loves pushing the ball. He has a big arm, very underrated arm. I would say that has PJ Walker. I
mean, Tyrod throw the same exact deep ball, like that super high arcing, drop it right in the. There's another quarterback who throws a deep ball like that too, but yeah, it's like one of those rainbow balls that they throw.
Yeah, so he will give the receiver chances. He sometimes gets in trouble too because he's trying to make the play. You don't fault him with that because guys, especially as a backup, you're just trying to make sure, right, you can make the play. What I would say is this: you said that they needed to start hot. They one or two things have to happen for this to be a game, right? Either the offense starts strong, scoring, or the defense starts strong, shutting them down from scoring, right? One or two sides have to hold it. Now, if it is the defense starting strong and holding the Niners to either field goals or no points, on the offensive side, if you're not scoring because it's a good defense, right? This is not like it's a rollover defense, but you cannot turn the ball over. If you don't turn the ball over and the defense is playing well, then you have a chance. If the defense doesn't play well, then GG. If the offense starts turning it over, GG. I think the path here is that defense has to play like they play earlier, first 4 weeks, and the offense has to be turnover free. If you do that, you have a chance. You may have a chance to win because if your defense provokes the turnover and you don't do the turnover, then that is the path I see for them to win. I agree with you because I think the Niners are probably going to try to key on Amari Cooper. So they're going to try to make somebody else beat them. Elijah Moore, we heard it in preseason. People were excited. My problem with him was he's been in the league for a couple of years and we haven't seen anything for him. This is the week. What can you do?
Hypothetical wide receiver. Every year you get these wide receivers right now that people swear are always open. Right. I think all of us have had these experiences where people are like, he's open. He's open. You look at the film, he's open. But if he's open, he ain't never getting the ball. I mean, is he? Like, does it actually matter? Like, at some point, maybe there's something going wrong with how you getting open if you're always open and you don't ever get the ball, because I feel like, why wouldn't it get there? And there's reasons why it doesn't happen. But yeah, he's been a hypothetical wide receiver. His production has been highly hypothetical. It's like, oh, what he could do if we could do this and that. And at some point you want to see it, right? I'm pretty sure Rashad Bateman is a similar guy to this that you're having this debate with here, where it's like, oh, well, you just got to do this and do that. It's like, at some point, just be productive. Like, good wide receivers find a way to be productive. You see Terry McLaurin, can't tell me he was put in the right situation early in his career or had the right quarterback early in his career, but good wide receivers figure out a way to be productive. And for Elijah Moore, he's getting dangerously close to that line to where it feels like you got to make too many exceptions for why he's not being productive. And at some point you just got to kick that can and say, hey, he's not productive right now.
Yep. Anyway, so in the case, Guru, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Do you give the Browns a chance? By the way, I did bet this game. I'm not going to say a word that I bet the game. I do think the Niners win, but Guru, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that when you look at this game, the Browns and the 49ers defense in terms of points allowed, I believe it's 13.6 Niners, and then the Browns only give up 15. So, I mean, the Browns defense is well more than advertised. My question is DeJuan Jones, is Jedrick Willis going to be able to protect PJ Walker against the pass rush of the Bosa, the Drake Jackson, the Hargrave, the Eric Armstead? And I think that you look at the Niners, their toughest game probably was versus the Rams. And if you look at how the Rams attacked them, kind of like what Q said, you're going to need Elijah Moore, you're going to need DPJ to make plays down the field outside of the traditional screen passes. I also think that this game could come down to Kevin Stefanski being aggressive. So if there is a 4th and 3, maybe in your own territory, you might need to get that just to keep the defense fresh. I think the defense is going to play well. I think that you match up well, against their offense. McCaffrey does provide some concerns, but the good thing is Stefanski installs a zone and a gap scheme. So you guys have practiced a lot against zone schemes, which should help you preparing to stop the Niners. I think Kittle is a guy who he's somebody that has an advantageous matchup possibly against a slot corner or maybe Joke, just because it's Kittle. But other than that, like Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, you have the personnel to hold them account. I think the game comes down to how many times does PJ Walker turn the ball over, how many times does he get sacked, and most of all, what do you do if you get in the red zone? If you kick field goals versus the Niners, you probably don't win the game. But if you're able to punch it in the end zone, maybe Stefanski gets creative with the play calling. Maybe he gets creative with a deep play action shot early just to get PJ Walker some confidence. It's the National Football League. You have a shot. But if I had to pick a winner Sunday, I probably would go with the Niners, probably 24, Browns maybe 13.
Okay. Yeah, I would say it's something that you mentioned, but McCaffrey, because McCaffrey is a beast. But I do think the linebackers that the Browns have match up well with that type of runner that McCaffrey is. Not saying that McCaffrey won't get his, but they match up well, in my opinion, with that type of shifty running back.
This ain't a week to be lazy on your tackles if you like they were last week, right? Like if you lazy on that, then McCaffrey might go off for 300.
Oh, yeah.
Because they give you that one layer of defense, but once you get past that, it's easy. But go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, man. I think with this game, it's a shame that Deshaun Watson isn't playing because 49ers are truly one of the best teams in football on both sides of the ball right now, the way that they're playing. So with Deshaun Watson not in this game, that's going to be huge. PJ Walker against this defense, I feel like they might be setting him up against the 49ers defense in this one. However, the Browns defense is going to be something that can keep them in this game. However, this is a 49ers team that's just on fire. What they did to that Dallas Cowboys defense was criminal. They should get locked up over that. I think the Browns defense is better than the Dallas defense, but I think this is going to be the first true test for that defense in terms of one of the elite teams, one of the elite offenses. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, but with no Deshaun Watson, it's a shame, man. I think that, if we were to be able to see this with a fully healthy Browns team, it would be a more entertaining game. Hopefully, like Q said, that they can stay in it. If they pull up the upset, that would probably be the biggest upset of this weekend of the season thus far. But the 49ers are just so good right now, man. I mean, I'm even looking at them after that bye week. They are playing some of the best football right now. Their issue has always been making it past the NFC Championship, so it shouldn't be a surprise. But I will say that Brock Purdy is real, and we're going to see how real he is against that Cleveland secondary and against Myles Garrett this weekend. But I think that the 49ers are going to cruise in this one just because there is no Deshaun Watson to give them any kind of resistance. So I'm going to take the 49ers in this one.
Yeah.
49ers have won 15 regular season games in a row.
Yeah.
They have scored 30 points. The last time they were held under 30 was a Thursday night game in December last year. They are on one hell of a roll. And when did they trade for C-Mac?
Last
What was it?
year.
That was during the game week though, right? That was like a Thursday night game week.
Yeah. Now here's something interesting. I
Yeah,
know it
something
might
like
not
that.
matter. I know here's something interesting. It might not matter. The Browns beat the Panthers last year, 26-24. And Steve Wilkes was the defensive coordinator. So Chubb that game at 22 carries, 141 yards. I understand that the Niners defense is significantly better than the Panthers defense, but you still look at schematically at it. And then DPJ, he led you in receiving with 60 yards, and Kareem Hunt had a touchdown. So, and he also had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. So, a Kareem Hunt vintage game probably is required outside of possibly even a defensive interception or possibly a touchdown. You want to steal a possession. This is a game, man. I wish you had Jakeem Grant. I wish you had what's my man, the OG, Josh Cribbs, because you want to possibly steal a possession and give PJ a short field.
Also, something to point out with this 49ers team, as good as they've been, there's a real question of how good that offensive line actually is, right? And we know that they're good against most teams. But then you saw Pittsburgh go against them. TJ had 3 on him, and that's TJ. TJ just does that sometimes, but 3 on them. And the last time we saw him go up against like one of them super elite defensive lines, they went up against that peak of their powers Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, and they destroyed them in the first quarter, even when Brock Purdy was out there. So I think that the offensive line can be a little bit more vulnerable than I think they expect it to be. And I don't think it's a question of how does Brock Purdy do under pressure. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. It's more of how this offensive line is going to hold up to pressure, because I don't think that they've been tested at that level. And if you make it a 4-quarter game with a team that really hasn't played 4 quarters in a very long time, anything can happen in that 4th quarter.
Yeah, so a couple things. CMAC was traded October 20th, so about almost a year around
this time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see the difference. I also agree with Q here. So the trenches will be critical and super important in this game.
They lost 1 game since they traded the team.
Yeah, and it was in the playoffs.
No, I mean 1 regular season game. 2 games in total.
Yeah, it's insane.
Hey man, running backs kind of matter a little bit. I guess their name is Christian McCaffrey.
The main thing here is that offensive line, as you were mentioning, they're built to push on the running side, right? They're great running O-line. They're great pullers and all that. On the passing side, as you said, they tend to struggle so a little bit. But when you get in Myles Garrett, Cedarius Smith, the others,
they also let the Rams score 23 points on them. And after seeing what they did against the Bengals, I just find that questionable. Like the Rams, like, have you seen that offense?
It's in division.
Maybe they just had a horrible game on Monday Night Football. But again, West Coast team coming East Coast, sometimes you get some of those performances, right?
You do get those performances, and also when you play in division. Like the 49ers, every time they come from East to West, I'm not saying they lose, but they definitely don't look the same as when they play in the West Coast.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. And Q remembers.
Oh yeah. Look, the last 2 times
they came from West to
East,
East.
different.
In 2019, and my ass was up out of that stadium at the 3rd quarter.
I'm not dropping 500 on merch at this game.
Week one, I left at halftime too, so it's okay.
Yeah, but another fun fact, you know who the last time the 49ers played in Cleveland, I think they haven't won in Cleveland since the 80s because they just don't play here that much. But the last time the Browns won against the 49ers at home, the last time they played at home, guess who were the quarterbacks for both teams? Bonus points if you know the coaches.
Wait. The last
what
time
was the year? What was the
what
year?
year was it?
2015.
2015.
Are you talking 49ers coach? I'm sorry, 49ers
The coach and quarterback for each team.
Alex Smith?
Nope.
Not
He was in
It had to
Kansas
be
City for a couple
Is
of
Harbaugh? Was Harbaugh the coach?
right?
Nope.
No,
Wasn't Harbaugh?
It was
Oh,
the
no.
linebacker guy. It was the linebacker
No, it
guy.
was Mike Singletary.
Mike Singletary.
Not Mike Singletary. That was before.
Tom
Yeah.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah,
Wait, who was it?
Tom Sula.
Tom Sula.
Now, guess who the quarterback was? Bonus. I'll give you a hint. This man is still an active quarterback.
Henny?
No.
No,
Gabbert.
but you're in the right place,
Gabbert?
Guru.
Gabbert?
Yes.
Good job, Sonny.
And guess who's the quarterback on the other side and the coach?
Not Hugh Jackson.
No, it was before Hugh Jackson.
Not Freddie
In
Kitchens.
15.
Eric Mangini.
No, even more forgettable name.
Damn.
This guy was Eric Mangini's underling.
Was he good?
Wasn't this the dude that was wasn't this the dude that came from the Packers or something?
Mm-hmm.
What's that
He
dude's
worked
name?
afterwards.
Yeah, I can't. He had a
Cypher.
Mike Pettin.
Mike Pettin.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess who the quarterback was? Also, I'll let you know,
RG3?
this quarterback's, I think, one win as a starter.
Derek
RG3.
Anderson.
No.
RG3.
Derek Anderson.
One
No.
career win as a starter. Remember that.
No,
No,
Derek
no.
Anderson.
Nope,
It's-
not Derek Anderson.
No. I think it's the guy that came to Baltimore.
Oh, you all know
Not-
who this is.
Yeah.
Not RG3. I said
No.
Y'all all know. I'm gonna tell y'all gonna be mad. Yep, Johnny Football.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't even thought Johnny Football.
That's a good trivia right there.
Yeah,
bro.
that was a good trivia. I wonder how many people got that.
Yeah, the 49ers are in a different place.
Yeah.
They were in 2015.
I still remember.
They got
Todd
beat by
Streets, though.
Johnny
I still
Paul
remember Todd
Football.
Streets, Kevin Barlow. I remember those nasty Niner years. I still remember.
By the way, I do want to say something here for the super chatters. The Watson jokes, we're not gonna read them.
We didn't put
Yeah.
Ben jokes up
So,
when Ben was in the league. We're not putting Watson jokes up now.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
no. So it was my bad that I show it real quick because I'm just going through, and as soon as I saw what it was, I took it out.
No, I
So
also
please don't.
before we go, I didn't know Batonio was out. I think that's probably a big issue for you with that front seven. Who's replacing him?
Mike Dunn. I like Mike Dunn. I don't like him
Turk.
against Javon Hargrave, but you know,
Shout out to the Turk. All right.
Mike Dunn's decent. He does well when he fills in.
Okay, cool.
Benny Fry here says, "I'm so happy the Browns are about to be 2-4 after all the miles. It's better than TJ Talk from Kier."
Hey man, that still don't change my opinion on that. Like, I don't know what that has to do with it. I didn't know that this was a specific race between TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and that determined the record, how well they played. But you know, hey, that was a nice try at the shot.
Ray Rack here says the Deshaun Watson rotator cuff has a deep contusion that presents or functions more like a strain. Could miss multiple more games.
Here's where I'm at with the injury, and here's where I recommend Browns fans be at. We don't know shit. All right. We don't know shit. We don't know when it's gonna be filled. Just subside to the fact that we don't know what's going on. This happened with the Lamar knee injury. Everybody's giving their opinion about, oh, it's this, and he can actually run on it, and you know, it's just pain, and everybody's a doctor. We don't know. We have no clue. We're using these big words. We don't know what it feels like. I don't know. When it happens, it happens. If he plays, he plays. I'm done trying to sparse this out and figure out what the hell is going on. We don't know. I'm going to just punt it, see what happens. Hopefully he plays next week. If he doesn't, I like PJ Walker because I'm an XFL fan, not because I think that that's going to be like the key to the playoffs.
I think also, too, kind of what you said, because if you look at the Ben injury or just any quarterback that has a serious shoulder or elbow injury, if you can get the surgery earlier, if you can get that earlier, I don't know when your bye week is, what you want to look at that.
Yeah, just they're coming from the bye.
Yeah, so you know, I would look at all the options because it's not. I know you don't want to hear this. It's not necessarily about this year. You want to have Deshaun Watson for the next 5 years,
and that's the thought process that the team's on, right? Like they don't want him out here trying to throw a football in a way that's going to mess with his throwing motion, because when you try to do stuff like that, you end up making more damage that's not necessarily recoverable, right? That's how guys lose their shots or lose their throwing motion and stuff like that. So, I mean, Carson Wentz is a great example of somebody who lost his throwing motion because of playing through injury. So shoulder injuries, throwing shoulder injuries, that ain't about toughness. That's about maintenance at that point. You got to be very careful with what you do, because tinking around there, being toughing it out through that can really, you know, I mean, look, it's the $230 million contract doesn't look great right now. You want to guarantee it's worse, have him play through this injury and destroy that rotator. You look like an idiot in the long run if you just try to do that. So, you know, you got to take the lumps. People are going to make their jokes like Nova Stone about, you know, not having a winning mentality. all that stuff. You know, it's good in the game. But if you feel like Deshaun can be a good quarterback within these next 5 years, you got to do what you can to secure that. Now, we've been waiting a long time, though. And eventually people will get tired of waiting. Because it's been a long time.
Nova Stone also says Kyle Shanahan has the best offense he's ever had. Probably.
We sleeping on that Falcons team.
Yeah, but the Falcons team had what? Julio. I mean, Julio's better
Devonta
than any of these.
Freeman was a top running back of his time at that time.
Okay, but
if
you put those two like running backs, right? Julio's the best receiver, but after
and Matt Ryan won the MVP.
Julio, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez. They
didn't have Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez.
Neither Roddy or Tony was there.
But they had what? Hooper was there.
Oh, that's when they had Sanu. That's when they had Sanu.
They had Muhammad Sanu. Hey, look, Tom gonna make y'all forget about that because Tom came back 27-3 on that team, but that was a good offense. That was a really, really good offense.
It was. But I do agree. So if I put the running backs as a watch, which I don't know, I think McCaffrey might be a little
better than Devonta Freeman.
They had the tandem though. That Falcons tandem was nasty.
But I think we underestimate how much of a dog Julio Jones was.
Julio's amazing.
They have nothing that's equivalent to Julio Jones, and that's the big thing. Like,
that is true.
Ridley wasn't on the team yet. Who said Ridley? No, Ridley was in college.
They might be right though. It might be the 49ers, bro. The 49ers
was the only person
more loaded.
And then also go ahead, Guru.
No, I was just saying he was the only person, Julio Jones, that I thought could be in the conversation his prime of AB. If you look at like the head-to-head numbers and stuff.
Julio was not as good as Megatron.
We have reached the time of our fandom where people have forgotten how good Julio Jones and Antonio Brown were.
So Julio, in my opinion, was not as good as Megatron, but he was close. Julio was like, you throw it around Julio, it was a catch. Anyway, Ray Rack here also says,
those are great wide receivers in that era.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Watson played with a partially collapsed lung, but people think he's weak. Stop it. Noah here says 49 has scored 30 plus points in 10/11 Purdy starts.
Yeah, Purdy's good, man.
I'm a 49ers fan, man. I'm convinced he's a 49ers fan, man.
The Ravens lost this week.
Cheering for if it was a 49ers Ravens rematch?
No? We know whoever's hot at the time. He going with whoever's hot. Like right now, the Ravens ain't hot. He not sending them Lamar super chats because they lost to the Steelers. So he's chilling on that. But he real hot on this Brock Purdy. Look, he goes with whoever is winning at the time, and if they both losing, he gonna find somebody else.
He also says
you don't cheer for Tom Brady if you like cheer for losers. Like that's the one thing. Like that man gonna find somebody who win it after a while.
that is true. Nova also says Browns bad at defensive motion. 49ers love to motion.
I wonder where you got that tidbit from, Nova Stone. It could it be from me? That's crazy.
See, he watches.
See, they look. Your biggest haters are your fans. You know what I mean?
49ers held Rams Cowboys to 1 sack. Micah had 0 sack.
Hey, man, Micah Parsons is not Myles Garrett. Like, it's just a different world.
And the Rams had nobody even close.
We said this before on this show. Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are of a different class than we believe Micah Parsons to be. Of edge rusher, because Micah is more of a converted linebacker. He's a little bit more maneuverable, and he gets his more like a stand-up linebacker gets his. Stopping Myles and TJ is different, and they didn't stop TJ when they played him.
Dustin here says NFL is a bad product this year. Maybe 6 watchable teams. Was wondering your thoughts on it. And it's just not the primetime games. Most games are bad. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but Q put up a good point too. Q said like we go through it every year at the beginning of the year. And now we left the first quarter of the year. So we had to see everything set. I'm low.
No, you good.
Everything settles in right after the first quarter of the season. Everything settles in. The teams, you can kind of see what teams are good. And then teams that are basically not too par. Like I was completely off on the Broncos. I thought they were not playoff team, but they were going to be better. And my God, that
Broncos have been horrible. For me, it's always I used to say wait until week 6 when we had 16 games. So I guess now that's week 7. You don't know what the hell is going on until like after week 6, week 7, because you would have teams that would start off like 5-0, 6-0, and then they fall off a cliff. So, like Sonny is saying, I think you always have to wait. I don't think the product is not watchable. I mean, there are some good teams to watch out there. And I think over time, like Sonny's saying, people will get used to the schemes, people will get used to the teams, and you'll start to see more. Now, I will say, offense definitely seems to be down this year, like across the league, which is kind of surprising given the way that the rules have set things up. But I think you'll see it definitely return by midseason back to a good product out there. But the AFC has not been the juggernaut that everybody expected it to be.
Every year we do this, Ace. I tell people this every year. Every year we hype up every single AFC team, and we're like, oh my God, it's going to be a gauntlet. Oh my God, you're going to have 12 wins to make the playoffs. And every year a team with 9 wins gets in.
Yeah,
like
right.
Every single year we do this, we hype up, we say this and that. But when the teams are good, you guess what? You get games like that are competitive, or sometimes you get good performances versus bad. Teams are just inconsistent at the early part of the season. And look, football games, much like baseball cards, they're going to balance out to averages. You're going to see a bunch of good games pretty much in like a week or two here, and then we're going to be like, oh my God, it's better than it's ever been. Like, it's not like the penalties or something. Like, there's nothing new structurally with the games that's making them this way. It's just how it's played out. And it's going to keep playing itself out. There's some teams that were hyped up that aren't that good. There's some teams that aren't hyped up that are good. I've been watching a lot of those Lions teams. Like, nobody thought that they were going to be as good as they were. So just gotta watch. The Cardinals are more competitive than people thought. It's about the games you're watching. The national ones just haven't been great.
Okay, Noah Stone here also says Myles Garrett lined up against Trent Williams. By the way,
do this. Does Myles Garrett not show that he moves around all the time?
I was gonna say this. See, the thing is,
it is his contract. I must rush the left tackle. Like, he moves.
He look. If you're a defensive coordinator, right, and let's say Trent Williams is the best O-line in the world, right? And let's say that he is containing Myles Garrett, right? Let's just assume that. And if you move Myles on the other side, he's eating whoever's up on the other side. Why would the defensive coordinator not move it? Myles is the guy that moves all over the place. Who cannot move? The tackle. The tackle stationary there.
Hayes, I got a better one. So, like, if there's one guy who could guard LeBron and you got LeBron on your team, you're not just about to let that dude guard LeBron all game. You're about to do everything you can to force somebody else to defend him. We understand that concept in other sports, but when it comes to football, we be like, well, he plays left tackle. He plays left edge. I guess that's the end of the story.
Miles is going to move around, dog. Miles is going to move around for sure.
They going to move around. They going to try to twist this. They going to try to twist around it. They going to try to do a delayed blitz, all kind of stuff. Like, they going to try to get around it. They're just going to go straight up.
Wouldn't a stunt be like a pick? How you try to get them off of that defender and onto somebody else?
Yeah, or you could do like a delayed stunt like the Steelers like to do with Cam, where they would like have somebody kind of stand up in there. You can do multiple different things. You got to be creative on that side of the ball, but that's what Jim Schwartz gets paid his money for.
Okay, oh my goodness, here says Rodney White, Josh Gordon, Alshon Jeffries, Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, Des, Jordy Nelson, Steve Smith, Andre Johnson, Dwayne Bowe, Larry Fitz, AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins also.
Anquan Boldin that.
Thank you. Yeah, Q. There's way more than this, right? There's way more.
Cardinals Anquan Boldin, not Ravens Anquan.
Odell Beckham Jr.
OBJ. That was a OBJ.
Hey, it's crazy. Odell's in that class. Like, that's nuts.
That 2013 class, and that's super disrespectful to Mike Evans. Mike Evans need to be in there.
That's right. That's right. We forgot about Mike.
We don't really got wide receivers like that anymore. Like, we got a couple of them that are like the Tyreek's obviously like that. I think Mike Evans still like that. Jamar Chase, he's like that, but I don't think you got like the same volume of wide receivers who was just like, oh, your quarterback ass, just throw it to him. Like, remember D-Hop when he was out there with Matt Schwab?
I remember the year that
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, he had Brock, and they had
DT and
EJ. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that was nasty. Anyway, Q, talk about the sponsor.
Oh, yeah. Let me bring it up right here. We're talking about Caldera Labs. Season's greetings, more like season's compliments, because compliments are guaranteed after making the leap to skincare with Caldera Lab. And I'm talking about how you look today and 20 years from now. The results are incredible in little time. Men's skincare and Caldera Lab are the perfect pair for you to look and feel your best. Super easy to add to your morning and nightly routine. Clear skin, less wrinkles, and signs of aging. Enough said. Caldera Lab Skincare. Join the other 100,000 men who trust Caldera Lab to show them your best first impression this fall. Having a sexy routine and habits with this new big thing. Let me read that again, bro. Like, hold on. Having a sexy routine and habits is the new big thing. And that's what if we told you it took less than a minute to add. Caldera Lab wants to help you accomplish this big time in little time. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products. The regimen leads off their product lineup, twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Caldera Lab knows the skincare world is heavily female-driven and has long been the Wild West for men. That's why we're making the simple solution. The regimen includes 3 products: the Clean Slate, the Base Layer, and the Good. The Clean Slate starts and ends your day. The face wash leaves your skin refreshed. The Base Layer is your daily moisturizer to hydrate your skin and jumpstart your day full of confidence. And the Good is your go-to multifunctional serum at night that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as reduce the visible wrinkles and fine lines. Every drop of this serum is packed with 3.4 million antioxidants, antitoxins units protecting your skin. And the Caldera Lab Icon Eye Serum, it addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eyes: fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare routine, made only with the top tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for just a few weeks. 1 minute morning and night is all it takes to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. And for our audience, we have an exclusive deal. You're not going to beat this offer. Insert code AFCNT at calderalab.com and get 20% off right now. Again, use promo code AFCNT to get 20% off right now. Get 20% off of that promo code at Caldera Lab to make an unforgettable first impression with the best gift this holiday season.
By the way, link in the description below. Great product. Go check them out. Also, big thanks to Adam Holland, Dom Gazulu, Luis Cousin, Leo Sell, Ray Rack, Wesley Worrell, Christian Rob. Thank you for being the top tier patrons. Okay, before we keep going, Guru, until what time do we have you, man?
We're good.
Okay, we're good in time. Okay, so we have 3 super chats, and then we're gonna pivot to the Bengals game. Anime here says, "What are the odds AB trades Garrett today to save the future draft after Watson is failing?" There's no
They're
way.
only 1 draft pick away from like being done with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why would they?
Remember, guys, it's
saying shit.
it's important for you guys to understand.
No, hold on, stop. Tree's been trying to trade Myles Garrett for 3 years. He always
to the Ravens
here with the Myles Garrett trade every year. Like the second something doesn't go wrong, after Myles flipped his car last year, he was trying to get a Myles Garrett trade. This dude don't like Myles Garrett for whatever reason, and he's always trying to trade him. I remember you, Tree. Yeah, I remember that.
He's a Browns fan too.
I know you're a Browns fan. He one of them dudes always be trying to trade Myles Garrett on my mentions. Yes, I know. I remember him.
How can we trade a first ballot Hall of Famer? Let's
I'll take him.
Let's do that.
I even will give you Odafe Owe, so you can have.
You'll be generous enough to give me Odafe Owe for my
first. I'll give you that. But also for everybody out there, when you trade a player like Deshaun Watson, whoever, the most you can give first round pick is 3. If you wait to when the league year start or the draft day starts, you can get 3. That's the most.
Unless the team has multiple first round picks, but
yeah,
nobody's doing that for Myles Garrett. So you're not going to get more value than just having Myles Garrett.
Okay, right here says, I'm tired of this Brown family. They were so mad that the team forced Baker to play on a hurt shoulder, but Watson is quitting for not waiting to play.
Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that in 2021? Where people would not stop super chat about this franchise needs to stop Baker Mayfield from going out there. It's the fans. He needs to force him to sit out because he's clearly not healthy. And now we're like, oh man, I can't believe Watson's quitting on the team. Like we don't ever just have a normal reaction to anything. We don't ever just be like, damn, I hope he could play next week. Whatever happened to that? Yeah. Why we got to do this every year, dog? It's been 5 years, 4 I've been doing it with this show. And Sonny, you never look like you're not shocked by the crazy shit that I have to deal with from Browns fans. Like you always look like you're like, dog, what are they doing? They want to do what?
I just love because Ray-Rack, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I can feel your frustration in the super chat.
Dog, all of us. We be hearing this. Last year they wanted to trade Miles. Like
who's this Reptar kid guy?
I don't know. Steelers. He's a Steelers fan apparently.
We were doing a lot, giving our opinion. That's crazy.
Quincy, I missed you last episode. The Steelers guy was doing a lot. Sonny, I agree with you. Ravens lost the game. Nothing the Steelers did that game changed my opinion on that.
Versus I don't talk enough. Then when I talk, I'm doing too much.
They do this to me every week. Where they tell me I talk too much and then I don't talk enough. It's just we got to play your game. You know what I mean? Well, also we shouldn't platform people who are trying to like pit us against each other. Like I don't think we should platform those super chats.
We're talking about football. We're not talking about Jurassic Park, Reptar.
Yeah. And to be honest,
Rugrats.
Right.
Look, you. Here's your boy. I love Garrett. I just don't know how to afford him with the Watson 60 million.
There's not 60 million.
That sound like the Mixon cutters. I love Joe Mixon. We just need to cut him. They always start off with I love X players.
That sounds like every time they tell us they gonna cut student loans. Hey, I love you guys, but I really want to cut him. I just can't figure out where to cut this money from. Like it's just everybody hit the I love this guy before they suggest doing something crazy.
Look, as a Ravens fan,
I love Jamar Chase, but okay.
Look, as a Ravens fan, and I think here Guru and Asu will probably echo my sentiment. I will love for y'all to trade for Myles Garrett.
We're vetoing that, Sonny.
I would love that. You do that, and I'm like, good job, Browns. I will support it. I endorse it. Anyway,
you traded Myles Garrett. He's like 27. Why would you do that? Like
he's only 27. I feel like he's been in the league for like 20 years.
He's only like 27. Because TJ's a year older than him. They were in the same draft class. Browns could have had them both, by the way. That's a fun story.
Yes, they could have. They could have both.
Could have had them both. But and Watson. They could have just handled this in one draft. But we got David Njoku and Jabril Peppers.
Anyway,
the funny thing is we traded up. Here's the thing that will never not get me. The Browns are like, oh man, the Steelers really like David Njoku. We got to jump in front of him to take him. And the Steelers are like, damn, I guess I got to take TJ Watt now. Like, I can't stand this stuff sometimes.
In that draft, funny story.
It don't ever go our way. Like, it don't ever go our way.
In that draft, that's what the Ravens drafted Marlon Humphrey. I was pissed. He's my favorite defensive player in the Ravens, right? But I was pissed because I wanted TJ Watt. Like, I wanted TJ Watt, and they didn't draft TJ Watt. I was so mad. I was like, I don't even care about this Humphrey kid.
By the way, I didn't get to talk about this.
I'm going to tell y'all this, man.
It's
That's
a
when we
shame.
drafted John Ross, dog. That's when we drafted John Ross. I don't think anybody had a worse draft than that. John Ross.
Oh, no. Ace. That 2017 draft is full of bad decisions because y'all took John Ross, and you remember that because your team did that. Somebody took Solomon Thomas, number 3 overall, and Mitchell Trubisky, number 2,
And that was
in a draft that had Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes went right after John Ross, dog. We took John Ross over Pat Mahomes, and then Deshaun went after him.
Y'all was like, you know what? We don't need him. We need a wide receiver to get Andy Dalton to that top tier. Let's go get John Ross.
Yeah, because
You're going to get a dude that runs a 4.2 for a quarterback that constantly underthrows average running wide receivers. That was the worst decision ever.
It worked for Tua. That fixed Tua. You know what I mean? So the thought was sound. It was just John Ross hamstrings could never comply. Y'all should have known not to draft him when he popped his hamstring running at 40 time. Like that was the ultimate instant red flag.
Yeah.
Right.
He immediately injured himself after running at 40 time.
Yeah. So Q, here's Ray Rex saying every year, Q, I think it's every week. Either they win and are winning the Super Bowl, or they lose and they are now 0.
This year has been especially
well, because I think and to be fair to the Browns fans, they should be hyped, right? The team was good, and there was a lot of hope. And as soon as something went bad, I seen it. I seen it on the Twitters. I seen it on X. Sorry.
No, we're calling it Twitter.
Okay, and then the last one before we start with the next, he says, I'm saying I disagree with Ace and Guru's opinion. Sonny said last episode that friendly trash talk was cool among each other, and other y'all, that's it. All love, no bad bites, all love. Okay, with that being said, we'll talk about the Bengals now. The Bengals game, playing a good Seattle team. Now Seattle's coming. It's in the Natty, correct, Ace?
I think that game's at home.
It's in Cincinnati. So Seattle is a team that is dangerous, right? Meaning, not dangerous. They're good. They're good. They have drafted well. The best thing that happened to them was that trade with the Broncos, where they have been able to replenish players. So they had Geno Smith had a resurgence in his career over there. The O-line has got better. Receivers are good. Defense is good. This is a legit team. Now, coming to the East Coast, we'll see. I would like to know, Ace, what do you think about this game? What do you think? As you said on Wednesday, Cincinnati's back. Joe Burrow's back. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Ace, I can't hear you. I think you're muted. No. Oh, we lost. Okay, Guru, let us know. What do you think about this game?
I think this game is actually it's really enticing in terms of a matchup. When I look at Cincinnati, you look at them building off of the first 300 passing game of the season versus the Cardinals. Ace is back. Go ahead, Ace.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yeah. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals, in terms of Joe Burrow, is definitely back. I think the things that you were able to see from him in terms of moving have shown that he is drastically different. It also opens the playbook up completely. But this is a good Seattle team. The one thing that's surprising, though, is they have had some injuries in the secondary, because when you look at them, the first thing I thought of is Devin Witherspoon, talk about Tariq Woolen and all of that. You would assume that this secondary or this pass defense would be in the top half of the NFL. They are in the bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of the pass defense that they're giving up. They're giving up a lot of yards to receivers. That is not something that you want to be facing with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on their defense. They don't want to be facing that. They've not given up too much on the ground game in terms of from running backs and stuff like that. But obviously, with Joe Burrow being back, that was the big thing last week. The 300 yards, the 3 touchdowns through the air, the delta over and the positive over the expected completion percentage. That is something that got rolling last week. And I think Joe Burrow knows the importance of this game. He knows that because his mobility was limited, that caused the Bengals to drop some games. and kind of get in a little bit of a hole. And he knows that we have to get to 3-3 before this bye, especially having to play the 49ers afterwards. I do feel like Joey B is back. I don't think that the calf is really going to be a thing going forward. But the biggest thing is this passing attack against that pass defense. Now, on the offensive side of the ball for the Seattle Seahawks, they do have some explosive players. You talk about DK Metcalf, talk about Tyler Lockett, JSN. Hasn't got off to the start that we really expected from the rookie. But I think that the Bengals also line up well with them. Even though the Bengals defense has given up plays here and there, they're one of the top teams in the NFL against any receivers that they face. And so them having a DJ Turner, them having a CTB, them having a Cheeto, they can match up with those guys. It's going to be really interesting to see Jordan Battle play more this week. He was a guy that played more last week, who I've always favored over Nick Scott. So I think in the secondary, Dax Hill as well, they have the guys to be able to handle this Seattle receiving attack. The issue is the Seattle rushing attack, and the Bengals haven't been good at stopping the run. They've been killed this season, and Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, I think, pose the biggest threats to this Bengals defense. But in this situation, given what's at stake here, I'm going to take my Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is going to come to play. I think he's going to put points up. I think Seattle's going to put points up. The Bengals are going to have to play some man defense against Geno Smith, or else he's going to eat them alive. He is amazing against zone defenses, which lines up with him being in the league for so long. But you've got to play some man-to-man. You've got to put DJ Turner on Tyler Lockett. You've got to do some of these things in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback and things like that. Trey Hendrickson's going to be big in this game. Charles Cross is back for this game, but Trey Hendrickson is playing like a top 5 edge rusher statistically right now. He only is he only trails TJ Watt right now. Obviously, Myles Garrett is back this week, so things can change. But as it stands now, he is playing some amazing football. I'm not here to say that he's on their level, but I will say that he's probably the next street over or something like that. Let's not say he's in the neighborhood, but he's going to be huge in this game. PJ Hill has been doing some things this season, but if the Bengals want to compete in this one, they're going to have to put up points, and they're going to have to use that home field advantage to their advantage because this is a good Seahawks team. But I do see the Bengals squeaking this one out at home because they know how important it is for them to get to 3-3 going into their bye.
Guru. If you can talk, that's fine. We can go to.
Yeah, so the Bengals versus the 49ers, the
Seahawks.
Seattle Seahawks. I don't know. These are two teams I cannot trust right now because the Seahawks have been a little bit up and down. And I think that the Bengals have been more than up and down to start the season. But I did like what I saw from Joe Burrow. I think that some of the athleticism was back when it looks like he was able to stop on it. It looks like he's getting a lot more comfortable with it. I still don't see him escaping the pocket left and right. Like he's able to go north and south to get out the pocket, but when it comes to moving laterally, I still don't see that same comfort with him that you usually see, but he's comfortable enough to where he can start being effective and he doesn't have to run the big man offense. But also hey, remember that big man offense had its days, right? Even when Ben was throwing it in 2020. So I think that it's a little bit of both. I don't think that Joe Burrow is completely 100% back. But I also think that that Joe Burrow has made significant progress. And look, I know it's going to sound like a joke when I say it, but Joe Burrow has taken enough hits to where I feel like that calf is stable, right? Because if it wasn't, something would have happened. He's taken so many hits over the last couple of weeks, and he's been able to bounce back. So I think he's going to bounce back. This is going to be a tough game, but I think that the Bengals do find a way to get back to 500, and they're going to win this one. I think the defense does a good job. Geno Smith is one of those guys. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. I don't really know what to do with Geno. So if that's what I'm leaving this up to, I'm going to go with Joe. They're going to win this game.
Okay, Guru, sorry I interrupted you earlier. So
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Sometimes, the conversations at work are hilarious. But the game, I think, Burrow's capitalized off his first 300-yard game of the season. Jamar Chase had his vintage Jamar Chase game. the defense flashed. And then you look at Seattle, look at the Monday night game. Besides the Jamal Adams injury, the defense played very well. Devin Witherspoon had his best game of his career. The pass rush seemed like it was winning interior pressure. Draymond Jones, Uchenna Owusu. I think that they have some guys, and then the linebackers are probably their weakest link with Jordan Brooks and Devin Bush. I think what this game comes down to, can the Bengals run the football? Because Seattle, I think that could be a weakness for them stopping the run. The Giants, believe it or not, were able to run the football with Breida. They just didn't stick with it. I think that Seattle, the game versus Detroit, was a bad game for them, and then they pounded the Panthers and they pounded the Giants. So they have some momentum too. You always wonder, can a West Coast team where they have struggles coming on the East Coast and playing? But I like Pete Carroll's team. I like where they're at. I think the wild card for them is JSN, a homecoming for him, the Ohio State boy. They need him to open up that offense, but DK Metcalf has been very dominant. Tyler Lockett has been dominant, and Kenneth Walker Jr. If the Bengals struggle to stop the run, you're allowing Geno Smith to utilize play action to win. And then I just think something unique is T. Higgins, is his availability, because if Higgins doesn't play, they'll double Jamar Chase. They already play a lot of cover 3, but when you have Woolen, when you have Witherspoon, when you have Quadre Diggs, ball hawks, you're able to minimize him. So Tyler Boyd, Trent Irvin, like last week, he's going to have to make some plays. And I think Irv Smith Jr. might have to have about 40 yards, a big catch, just to loosen that defense up. They're very aggressive. They allow their corners to seek, kill, and destroy. Quite frankly, they're very violent. And like I said, Witherspoon, he has to have supreme confidence. Now, and I'm not 100% sure if he knows who Jamar Chase is. That's not somebody who you call out. I believe he did make some comments this week. That's a little bit more fuel in the fire for the Bengals. But I think this is a toss-up game. I'm giving both teams 50-50. I can't really pick a winner right now just because of how I think both teams are trending upward. But I will tell you that I would take the over in points.
So this is what I would say. I think everybody's making interesting points. I believe that the run game will be very important in this game. We'll be talking about the passing game a lot, and that both teams had great receivers. And Weatherspoon calling Jamar Chase, if he is put with Jamar Chase on an island, prepared to be cooked, young fella, because he ain't about to call Jamar Chase and not pay for it. But
yeah, he shouldn't have did that. That was a mistake messing with calling Chase out. I don't know why he did.
After he had like 3
he didn't even do it. His teammate did it. DK did it. So
that's crazy. That's good. Is that a young player that did that?
Yeah, rookie.
Oh, come on, kid.
Yeah. So, but saying that, I think the running game, it will be important. The Bengals need to either slow down, quasi-stop the Seahawks running game. And now, how you do this, obviously on defense, but also if offensively you come in hot and you start pushing the ball and scoring touchdowns instead of field goals, Seattle then has to pivot to more of a throwing game. And then you can set up your defense because you're gonna make that one. You're gonna make Seattle one-dimensional. I think that is something that the Bengals need to attack early. They need to have a fast start, because if they have a slow start and let Seattle get into their groove, and then Seattle starts running the ball down their throat, then it can shift to the other side. So obviously the Bengals have to be careful, and they have to lean into that offense. That, as Ace says, is back. In my opinion, they looked back last week, but like I said on Wednesday, it's such a week-to-week league. We need to see it more than 1 week. But if they are back, then your expectation is that offense can start quick, start early, and take that side of the ball on offense for Seattle. Take that running attack from Seattle, because then Seattle will be forced to throw the ball more. And then, look, Geno Smith. I keep calling him Geno Stone. Geno Smith. Geno Stone's a Raven safety. Geno Smith. He is a quarterback that if you don't give him uncomfortable, he plays really good. If he is there sitting in the pocket, right? Just vibing. He will make you pay. So I think the other side, the Bengals need to find a way to pressure. I have the Bengals winning because it's in Cincinnati. I think if it was in Seattle, I'll probably be picking Seattle. I have the Bengals winning by 6. I think it's going to be a good game for somebody. Somebody was saying that so many bad games. I think this should be a good game. Should be a competitive game. Both good teams. Good test for both teams. I had the Bengals winning by 6. The poll right now had the Bengals 63-37. By the way, Q 72% they had the Niners for the Browns poll. Okay.
Understandable.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about the Ravens. The Ravens had the London game. Last time the Ravens went to London, I did not like the outcome. It's not that we lost. We got embarrassed by the Jaguars in London. No, it wasn't even close. Yeah, it wasn't even close when we played them. On the other side, we had a Tennessee team that is all over the place. It's all over the place. They play good sometimes. They play bad sometimes. They play good at home. They play bad on the road.
This your twin.
Yeah. This is in theory.
This your twin.
This is in theory a home game for them, but we're both traveling on the other side of the pond. Look, this is a game that the Ravens, in my opinion, need. I mean, it's not like a must-win game. I wouldn't call it a must-win game, but who psychologically, specifically for the receivers, they need to come in. They need to show that they can catch the damn ball. They need to show that they can make plays, right? Lamar, in the case of Lamar Jackson, the O-line for the first time in week 1 might be back, so that's important, right? Because this D-line for the Tennessee Titans is good, the D-line. But on the other side, on the secondary, there's place to be had if the receivers catch the ball. So saying that, I think the Ravens should expose that secondary. But Lamar also has to be aware, as I said, this D-line is pretty good. If the D-line is having their way with the O-line or it's just having penetration, he needs to be aware that either running himself or he needs to just throw it quickly. Can't happen what happened against the Steelers. The one Fahalele come in, he was just there waiting, almost like waiting for T.J. Watt to make the play. He needs to know if for some reason the D-line for the Tennessee Titans beating the O-line, he needs to get rid of the ball quicker. But I think there's opportunities to be had with this secondary. I think the Ravens receivers, again, when they're catching the ball, it's good enough. The scheme was good enough, and there's place to be have to score points. Now, if we think about the other side, we got a guy in Derrick Henry, which also has had an up and down year. Has good game, has bad games. The thing right now with the Ravens, the D-line. The D-line for the Ravens have not been great. They've been okay, but not great. They're not pushing that O-line. They're not even holding that O-line. They're getting pushed back. So obviously when they're getting pushed back, you see O-linemen now having their way and also sucking the linebackers in. So the D-line needs to perform better, because if you get Henry and you hit him early, right? We all talk about this. If you basically hit Derrick Henry in the first 2 yards, you have a chance. If you have him in the 5 or 6 yard, God bless your soul, because you're gonna get bulldozer over. So on the defensive side, make sure you slow down Henry. I would like to see blitz, because we're not gonna pressure. God knows we can't pressure with just the 5. Blitzing Tannehill, trying to force turnover. Tannehill will do that, right? He likes to throw it to the other team if pressure is applied. So I think that is a key. We need to pressure Tannehill. We can't let him just be there, because if we let him be there, eventually he's gonna find the receiver. So on defense, obviously stopping Henry, slow him down, whatever you want to call him, but also pressuring Tannehill. And like I said, on offense, the secondary, there's place to be had. There's opportunities to have. And I think this Ravens team should prevail, so we can get the bad taste of us play, or last time we played in London. So I'm gonna go Ravens, 24-17. Close game. close game-ish. But I think the Ravens should prevail this game. What do you think, you?
With the Ravens and Titans, I have no idea what to make of this game, man. Like, to be honest with you, I have no idea what to make of this Titans team. Look at this Titans team's record. They beat the Chargers. They get demolished by the Browns. They demolished the Cincinnati Bengals with the exact same score, just opposite. And then they lose to the Colts. Okay, like, I don't know what to do with them. And that's the same way I feel about Baltimore, right? Because every week I'm like, I know where Baltimore is going. I know how Baltimore is going to play. They're going to be a good team. They do something that utterly shakes my confidence, like losing to the Steelers. Like, in the way that they lost to the Steelers, because losing Steelers, that's not that big of a deal. They're a good enough team. The way you lost to the Steelers was just unbelievable, right? If we want to go down to the whole whatever happened with Hump getting left on the island versus Pickens to let them even get the score in the first place. And the wide receiver problems continue to exist for these Baltimore Ravens. Like, where were the Raven fans that were telling me that this was a top 5 receiving core and calling me crazy for not saying that about a receiving core that they had? You know what I mean? It's easy to project that Rashad Bateman is going to be great in the preseason, but what has he been so far? He's been another hypothetical wide receiver.
Yeah,
he's great on paper, right? Like, hypothetical, dropping passes. He had to deactivate his Twitter and got to that point, right? It's been that way for the Ravens for a while, and it's a shame because I think Lamar is playing some of his best football from the pocket he's ever had in his career. Now, because of that, I think they'll bounce back and win this game. I think Lamar is going to have a A+ game again from the pocket. He's going to throw some balls really well. I think they're going to be able to find some targets, get some deep shots, going to catch the Titans kind of being impatient. But I think that this is going to be a close game until like the third and fourth quarter, and then the Titans get impatient there. But I have the Ravens, but I don't feel great about it, to be honest. But I have them here.
Okay. Ace, who do you have in this game? Ace, can you hear us? We might have lost Ace, and I did forget to put the poll. My bad, guys. Like I said, it's gonna be an interesting game regardless. I think, like you, and I said this last week here, it's been such a week-to-week league for all of us. Think about for all of us. We're like, oh, our team looks good, and then oh, look,
it's October, it's September, man. You're only operating off of 1 or 2 games. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't have enough sample size to really know who anybody is, unless you were very successful last year. And the only team that is the team that's been most concerning throughout these 4 weeks. That's Cincinnati Bengals. So it's up in the air. You just don't know. And yeah, I think we forget this every year, right? Every year we see week 1 and we're like, that's who we are for the rest of the season. Or you play a great game and you're like, that's who we're going to be for the rest of the season. But football's an up and down game. You're going to have great games. You're going to have good shots. You're going to have bad shots. You're going to have games where you give it your best and you just play well, you lose. You're going to have games where you play terrible, you win. It's a week-to-week league, especially in the AFC North. And I think people kind of forget that, especially as reactionary as football discourse has gotten over the last few years.
Okay, guys. Well, that will be it for this show. We'll be back Tuesday, recapping this week and seeing what fan base is happy, what fan base will be sad. We'll see. The North has to get it together, but we'll see. Thank y'all for watching. We will see you next time. Peace out.